Welcome to your graduation ceremony. We are now live on YouTube and your ceremony will now begin.
Jaka hudba to ide.
Welcome everyone. My name is Pete Eekhout and I'm Dean of the Faculty of Laws. It's a real honor and privilege to welcome you to UCL's 2021 virtual graduation ceremony. I'm delighted to see so many graduates from the Department of Laws here with us today, and I know that we have many friends and family members watching as well. We hope you are as proud as we are of this group and what they have achieved. Obviously, we wish we could have been celebrating in different circumstances this summer, but we're grateful that we were able to come together virtually today. We'll try our very best to replicate the experience you would have had with an in-person graduation. You'll hear an address from our provost, Dr. Michael Spence, from our faculty friend in Yale, Professor Judith Resnick, and from me. But first, a little housekeeping. I'm sure you're all familiar now with virtual meetings. Please do feel free to share messages of congratulations in the chat function at the bottom of your screen, but otherwise, please stay muted unless called on to unmute. Graduates, we will be announcing names in groups. Once your name has been announced, we encourage you to turn your camera on, and at the end of each group, we will offer you our congratulations and then ask you to turn your cameras off before we move to the next group. Now, I want to introduce you to our virtual platform party that joins us today to celebrate with you. You can see them on your screens. So if I could ask my colleagues to please unmute yourselves, wave and say hello or whatever else you want to shout or cheer.
No, congratulations.
Congratulations, buddy.
Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. I now declare this ceremony open and will now hear from the provost.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Spence, President and Provost of UCL. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all today to your virtual graduation ceremony, and I'd like to offer my wholehearted congratulations to you as you graduate from UCL and move forward to the next stage of your lives. Of course, I speak to many of you dispersed across the world today. We can agree that this situation isn't and hasn't been ideal, and we'd prefer to celebrate in person, but that doesn't diminish your remarkable achievements in any way. The whole UCL community is behind you, and we're in awe of the resilience that you've shown in the face of the challenges posed by the pandemic. Each of you has shown what you can achieve even under the most trying circumstances. This year marks the 195th anniversary of UCL's founding, We continue to base our principles and beliefs on those of Jeremy Bentham, a commitment to social justice and the availability of education to all. At UCL, we've always believed in changing the world for the better, and as graduates, you'll carry that goal forward. You're a part of UCL's history, but just as importantly of its future too. This is not the end of your UCL journey. You're joining an impressive global alumni community of over 300,000 graduates who support and celebrate each other and who go on to achieve remarkable things around the world. UCL and the alumni community is here for you, not only as you take the next step in your career journey, but for life. So thank you, and congratulations. I look forward to a time when we'll be able to come together in person to further celebrate your amazing achievements.
But I was on mute, I think. So I'll say that again. I'm delighted to welcome Karen Scott, Director of Undergraduate Programs, to present the graduates. Karen.
Thank you, Pete. Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm delighted to present our graduands. I'm delighted to start by presenting the following graduands who've been awarded a Bachelor of Laws. Noor Adil Nabdi. Zainab Mayasuri Adalopa. Mohammed Ali. Nerchos Analydes. Dimitar Milchev Arabov. Yasmin Sita Sabrina Baldeo. Sarah Katrina Darren Banton. Alexandra Louisa Lodorn. Evan Reese Brewster. Chan Carmen. Adrian Ho-Fung Cheng. Grace Min Huey Chu. Chiang Ji Wei Ashley. Ching Jack Choi. Veronica Shranowska. Mabel Chua Yu Schwen. Juana Isabel de Leon. Louis Amadeus Deju Castang. Abida Danji. Shani Earl. I'd like to pause there and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates, please. Congratulations to you all. I'll continue with the following candidates who've also been awarded a Bachelor of Laws. Adiolu Faniran, Lily Hannah Fayer, Andrea Gonzalez Ruiz, Sirma Zainab Bulan, Echo Juan, Connell Joseph Hughes, Christopher Ho Ching Yen, Eleanor Catherine Johnson, Julia Jukno, Nida Kadiifchi, Mohammed Nabil Kodabakas, Hyon John Kim, Emma Kakova, Jansen Zen Hao Law, Chak K Lau, Jin Huey Lee, Grace Celine Lee, Mihaela Nikolaeva Lakova, Shi Hin Adrian Leung, In Lee Lim. Again, I'd like to pause and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates, please.
Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations to you all. Continuing with the following candidates who've been awarded a Bachelor of Laws. Marketa Leskova, Tak Hei Lo, Ryan Mack, Man Sum Mack, Miro Alexei Matkavyori, Anushri Mehta, Suji Mo, Basma Mohammed, Asim Munshi, Ohana May Nadu, Rebecca Ninakova, Pamela Ung, Nicole Ung Hue Min, Hyon O, Wilhelmine Helena Katerina Hall, Nicole Pearson, Avinash Prasad Ford, Melissa Charlotte Hannah Hornby, Harry Rattan, Martin Repka. Again, if my colleagues can unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates, please.
Congratulations, everyone. Well done.
Congratulations again. Well done. Continuing with the following candidates who've been awarded a Bachelor of Laws. Eula Lynn Rugemer, Henna Rupal, Julia Sabatello, Jennifer Harriet Sampson, Louise Ann Shababo, Sheena Huresh Shah, Selena Shui, Maya Smith, Ho Wee So, Anna Spensu, Ellen Sarah Steiner, Radu Sukui, Hoi Yin Suen, Tan Kian Leong, apologies. Tan E. Zen. Angelique Elizabeth Torr. Sophie Eloise Faye Wainwright. Yiran Wei. Adam Westlake. Morgan Williams. Again, if I can pause and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to the esteemed graduates.
Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations to you all. Moving on and continuing with the following candidates who've been awarded a Bachelor of Laws. Yap Huan Ying. Regina Yip Hui Lam. Regina graduates from the LLB with a first-class degree and is the recipient of the 2021 Andrews Medal. Regina has been an outstanding student during her 3 years at UCL. The comments of her tutors refer to her being a precise and insightful contributor, providing intelligent and well-informed answers. Regina achieved first-class marks in 7 of her 8 years 2 and 3 modules, including a remarkable 85% for her dissertation. Revisiting the Fairchild principle, is there a better way forward? The essay was exceptionally well written. It was an impressively structured examination of a notoriously difficult subject. The confidence and fluency with which Regina developed the arguments and explained the stages of the analysis were on a par with professional academic writing. The essay demonstrated an outstanding knowledge of the case law and doctrinal detail and understanding and application of a complex literature to the issues raised. Regina is therefore receiving the Andrews Medal, which is awarded to the most distinguished finalist. We're delighted to have Regina and many others of Regina's caliber, including all of those here today, graduate from UCL Laws. And we have no doubt as to Regina and all of the graduates' future successful and glowing careers. Congratulations to Regina, the recipient of the Andrews Medal. Well done, Regina. We'll continue with the following candidates who have been awarded a Bachelor of Laws. Sum Yi Yu, Sun Huan Yong, Mariam Zamir, Gabriela Droyevska. And I would like to pause here once again and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates.
Everyone.
Many congratulations. We continue now with candidates awarded a Bachelor of Laws with another legal system. Starting with Bachelor of Laws with another legal system, Australia, Francesca Victoria Meikle, Joshua Jackson Ratcliffe. Bachelor of Laws with another legal system, Singapore, Katerina Kupkova, William Gopal Sims. Bachelor of Laws with French Law, Matilda Jobert Schuler. Anna Meedin. Marie-Therese Regnault. Christine Wang. Bachelor of Laws with German Law, Lucia Matisova. Bachelor, and continuing with candidates who have been awarded a Bachelor of Laws, Ellen Chan. Yu Sun Tiffany Chung. Sophia Evangeline Yi Ching Go. Hung Sut Hang Amy. Gun Woo Kim. Juliet Lung. Lung Wing Chun Janice. Henry Louis. Chun Lum Pak. Shu Su Yin. And continuing the Bachelor of Laws awards, Muad Barawi. Roman Znava. If I can ask my colleagues to unmute again and offer their congratulations in the normal way to that batch of graduates, please. Thank you. To our esteemed graduates. That concludes all of our undergraduate candidates. I would just like to end by offering my congratulations to the class of 2021 and wish you all the very, very best for the future. I look forward to hearing all about your wonderful achievements going forwards. If I can end by asking my colleagues to unmute and give a final raise the roof round of applause to the candidates, to all of our esteemed graduates. Congratulations to you all. Very, very well done. Well done. I'm now delighted to invite Sarah Campling, Director of Graduate Taught Programmes, to present our graduands. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Karen. That was absolutely amazing. So nice to see the graduates on the screen. So I'm now delighted to present our graduands. I have pleasure in presenting to you these candidates who've been awarded a Master of Laws. Miriam Ahmed. Mariam Mohammed Abdullah Abdurrahman Al-Bastaki. Lina Abdullah Al-Garashi. Alexia Bitsaksi. Maya Shantana Chowdhury Yulian. Daniela Deckel. Jeffrey Fong. Jeffrey Halim Foreman. Nadezhda Wanjiri Ru Gita. Dejan Gu. Alex Helen Inez Guitard. Maya Harari. Jan Jorgen Homan. Adam Mohammed Kadra. Justin Sebastian Koyman. Yini Lee. Peiying Lin. Chengyu Liu. Meenakshi Sukresh Panaki. Clements Paul Marie Tadu Mespule. Hello, everybody. I'd like to pause there. So lovely to see you all. I'd like to pause there and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates.
Congratulations.
We continue on with the following candidates who have been awarded a Master of Laws. Singru Wang, Yelu Zhang, and a Master of Laws in Competition Law, Ishan Aditya. Unarada Bhattacharya, Gan Francis Camacho, Georgia Contulia, Ria Jane, Caroline Jansen, Akash Kumkat, Louis-Jean Leclerc. Master of Laws in Corporate Law, Trevina Abraham, Doris Benokovic, Ku Bian, Antara Bose, Mohammed Tala Chowdhury, Michael Alexander Kumas, Shaolin Deng, Ran Fei, Francisca Regina Felohoff, Arjun Gopala Krishnan. I would like to pause there and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well done, everybody. We continue on with the following candidates who've been awarded a Master of Laws in Corporate Law. Orobosa Izokpan, Sinji Li, Menglin Liang, Yunong Li, Giorgio Lebu, Ashwarya Malik, Alia Mietza, Eniola Nofishath Olusoju, Azalea Pandita Gunavardhana, Jaya Yi Foon, Yifan Chu, Napaki Reknithi, Philip Schmidt, Nikita Soloyov, Mayhet Sood, Cher Tang, Louise Marie Willem van Dijk. Samantha Anna Wenda Usinska. Yu Ying Shea. Zivia Yang. I'd like to pause again there and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates. Well done, everybody.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
We continue on with the following candidates who've been awarded a Master of Laws, also in Corporate Law. Kun Song Yu. Chi Tian Zhang. Yao Min Zhao. Wei Ju. Tian Yuan Zhou. Master of Laws in Environmental Law and Policy, Stuart John Cheeseman. Robert Jeffrey Clark. Jae Hun Ju. Arcana Kasturi Mudali. Christos Kikidos. Camilla Marta Pamela Law Zawinski. Sean Douglas Seng Jur Cheng. And now I move on to the Masters of Law in European Union Law, which is awarded to Atina Salikidu. Master of Laws in Human Rights Law, awarded to Rosemary Ann Piper and Elliot Oscar Ross. The Master of Laws in Intellectual Property Law, awarded to Alex Onsial. Shao Chen. Charifon Vakna Vutigong. Master of Laws in International Banking and Finance Law, Wing Ho Chan. Anastasios Karalompoulos. I'd like to pause there again and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates. Well done, everyone.
Well done, everyone. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We continue on with the following candidates who've been awarded a Master of Laws in International Banking and Finance Law. Jaya G. Gu. Anna Borg Gonjostato. Lei Ying Hu. Isle Manavgot. Jitranat Narkme. Sher Shuao. Peiling Say. Fuad Amarilwa Sariki. Carla Viola Sinchi Tuesta. Hei Wen Song. Neural Emiliana Binti Sahaimi. Yuzhen Wang. Rosalind Prima Winata. Ying Shu. Deng Kui Jiao, Yini Ju, Master of Laws in International Commercial Law, Kemaletin Ahmet Aksoy, Lama Alanazi, Anastasia Balari, Jinqui Kai. I'd like to pause again there and ask my colleagues to unmute, give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates. Well done, everyone.
Well done, everybody. Congratulations.
We continue on with the following candidates who've been awarded a Master of Laws in International Commercial Law. Yuming Kai, Hanyun Chen, Ho-Tin Chow, Connor Courtney, Julia Anna Fodor, Janelle Donella Gibson, Batusuri Hansurikal, Sean Hurley, Yu Chan Jin, Six Yu Jin, Liz Kyler Kerthian Joseph, Rarisara Long Ingsri, Yehue Lee, Yatin Law, Six Yuan Leyu, Michael Nicholas Malvenda, Ashlan Ravan Mitsiev, Marina Grigoria Mizithra, Sophia Maria Nescu, Bemisola Caroline Osadua. I'd like to pause there and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates.
Woohoo! Congratulations, everyone. Well done.
Yeah, I've done.
We continue on with the following candidates who've been awarded a Master of Laws in International Commercial Law. Ernest Seth Osaya Full, Salmon Oshku, John Kochikorn Fantafas, Jodie-Ann Kimberly Stevenson, New Sue, Sharvari Dinesh Tyran Baki, Jeriyat Tup Charion, Sing Yu Wu, Miao Yu, Despoina Ziana, and a Master of Laws in International Law, Sonia Anwar Ahmed Martineau. Justine Marie Charlotte Batora. Mehmet Turan Bayraka. Charnaporn Budkanari. Celine Livia Leah Shos. Gal Cohen. Maria Carolina de Safranca. Oshi Day. Adinentias Sahasraki Rana Japmiko. Dominica Giorgiani. I'd like to pause there and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to our esteemed graduates.
Congratulations, everyone.
Well done. Well done, everybody. We continue on with the following candidates who've been awarded a Master of Laws in International Law. Jin Rong Koo. Jessica May Lawrence. Marielle Moreo Ramirez. Sarin Pillay. Jie Zhang. Master of Laws in Jurisprudence and Legal Theory, Caitlin Margaret MacArthur. Master of Laws in Law and Social Justice, Coralie Odette Martha Consigny. Thomas Sabu Vadakikat. Master of Laws in Litigation and Dispute Resolution, Akansha Bola. Kai Yin Cheng. Martina Akulansi. J. Chi Hang Kun. Ignacio Xavier Ultragra. Martin Sentful. Diana Ursulino. Master of Laws in Maritime Law, Fotini Apalaki. Nihal Seda Kakir. Farah Nabila Nagraha. Maria Pangoritu. Stiliani Pavlidou. Sipi Wang. And finally, Master of Laws in Public Law, Emily Akar. So that concludes our candidates. I would like to pause there and ask my colleagues to unmute and give a round of applause to all of our esteemed LLM candidates. Well done, everybody.
Well done, everyone.
Congratulations.
So many congratulations from me as well to all our fantastic LLM students. Well done, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm now delighted to invite Professor Alex Mills, the Professor of Public and Private International Law to present our graduands.
Thank you, Sarah, and hello, everyone. We now turn to the successful candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Law. Doctoral students undertake a program of independent research over at least 3 years. They must demonstrate a deep and critical understanding of their field of study and produce work which makes an original and significant contribution to knowledge of their subject. A research degree requires total and sustained commitment and is at the very pinnacle. I have the great pleasure and honor to present to you the following candidates. Tort law and the voluntary sector, protecting volunteers from liability. And Dr. Ashley Curran.
We seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties there, so we will re-announce the PhD winners and awardees. Pete, do you mind just taking over for us, please?
Yes, with great pleasure. That was very truncated, and these PhD theses were not truncated at all. So we awarded the degree to Dr. Philip David James Morgan for his thesis entitled Tort Law and the Voluntary Sector, Protecting Volunteers from Liability in Negligence. Congratulations, Philip. And Dr. Ashley Carrie-Lynn Keel for her thesis entitled Conceptions of Harm in the Canadian Constitutional Adjudication of Religious Freedom. And I think that concludes our candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. And I would ask that the virtual platform party all unmute themselves and give a round of applause to our graduating PhD students.
Oh, well done, everyone. Congratulations.
Congratulations again. And I'm now delighted to introduce our guest speaker, Judith Resnick, Arthur Lehman Professor of Law, Yale Law School. Professor Resnick is Professor of Law at Yale Law School. Her scholarship has had a massive influence around the world, dealing with areas of central concern for law and political theory, including courts, procedure, prisons, federalism, citizenship, Indian tribes, sovereignty, privatization, and equality. Her writing has been genuinely paradigm shifting. Just one example, her book Representing Justice, co-authored with Denny Curtis in 2011, is an extraordinary tour de force dealing with the topic of courts and iconographic depictions of justice, not just in the United States, but through a truly transnational lens. The book reviews the transformation of the practices of judging from medieval Europe to contemporary courts around the world. Judith also chairs Yale Law School's Global Constitutional Law Seminar, which I know well, and is a wonderful effort, which is part of the Gruber program on global justice and women's rights. And they draw into the seminar the most distinguished judiciary from around the world. Judith has an honorary doctorate from UCL and is a great friend of our faculty. I'm immensely grateful that she can be with us today. Judith, you have the floor.
Many thanks. I'm here in New Haven, so rather than the UCL, I have my UCL regalia, but not the background, and I am delighted to welcome the graduating students in the many different kinds of degrees and talk to family, friends, and colleagues at UCL. When first asked to participate, I was suggested I should do something inspirational. And of course, the inspiration comes from all of you who manage through long distance to forage on and succeed so wonderfully in getting your degree and in negotiating what none of us anticipated would have to be. So to mark the moment, one immediate comment is to think about different facets of UCL that equip us all. And one is to be appreciative of this, the Zoom we're on. Your dean mentioned that I chair Yale's Global Constitutional Seminar. We do actually a book every year, a case book. This year it was called Urgency and Legitimacy, and its topics COVID, which by the way, UCL has a huge research project on that we all are indebted to. We met 2 decades literally after the bombing of 9/11. So terrorism and judicial responses, the protest movements around the world, extremes, democracy, wealth, radical dislocation, Brexit, religion, those are all the topics. Those are your topics, those are our topics. Like you, we went virtual the last couple of years. In the context of this, trying to reach around the world, we had included a South African jurist who called me just a few days before the seminar was to begin last September, there in the fall, to say he couldn't participate. One reason, there was so much death and illness on his court, his workload was too large. The other was that there were rolling blackouts, 6 hours a day, no electricity. And as a consequence, there was no way he could be assured that he could actually Zoom in. So every time I think about fetching about Zoom, I actually also want to be underscoring how lucky we are to have the resources to be here in some sense together, eventually on YouTube, but at the moment really here together to be talking now. One facet of UCL were these resources and the attention that you just heard as your names were shouted out. Another is to think more about this remarkable institution that you are a part of. And when you're there in person, you know there's stone portals and gates, but UCL has been a barrier lowering entity from its get-go. At its founding in the 1830s, it opens its door to Catholics and Jews. That inclusionary decision set UCL apart from from England's other famous universities of the time. About a half century later, in 1878, UCL reiterated its commitments to inclusion by letting women students attend its faculties of art and sciences and the law. Here we are. With those two barriers of religion and gender down, I would have been eligible to apply with a caveat that I would have needed a character reference, something required of women at the time, but not of men. Now, all of this may seem like long gone water under bridges, but UCL really was far ahead. Here, I'll pull my US card out. Co-education of the major famous US institutions, including mine, didn't occur till the 1970s and was hard fought. A book describing it is called Keep the Damn Women Out, because in 1970, an irate alum wrote to one of those places to say, please do keep them out. So when UCL's website in 2021, which I visited yesterday in order to do this talk, says, and its quote is, UCL opened up education to the many, not the few. This is truth in advertising and much to be proud of, in fact. And its inclusionary history and its resources is coupled with another facet, which is it advertised itself, and it wrote a 2018 history that I read. And it says that it was committed to, quote, radical and critical thinking. And further on yesterday's web, it talked about itself as a place for disruptive thinking. Again, in my US hat, there are not that many universities that wrap themselves in that nomenclature. Indeed, in the United States and in elsewhere, where there's a fight about what's called critical race theory, which is a commitment to understand the institutional predicates that perpetuate subordinations of all kinds, and that those of us as educators and scholars and citizens think we need to understand. So this foray into UCL history is one way to say congratulations to having been selected at a wonderful place, and to which you have and will continue to contribute. Of course, a graduation is both marking a remarkable set of achievements, but it's also an end, and in this sense, a time of separation. Now, it might be weird to talk about separation at a distance, but here we are. And in fact, you have been a part of this and are a part of this institution in an era in which separation is the leitmotif. And obviously, Brexit is one of the exhibits. As we are watching efforts to tear apart a good many things. And we in the United States live with borders and walls, and in Europe as well, and around and in all parts of the world, and looking at refugees crossing oceans, trying to get in, Haitian, Afghan, many countries and being told that they cannot find places for brief haven. So it would be, as you launch your academic career, there's nothing else to say, but it is a hard time, a worrisome time, a time of unilateralism and nationalistic populism, and a time of protests, some of it generative and some of it phenomenally assaultive. Zoom isn't the only term that now comes trippingly off our tongues. So too does illiberal democracy, hacking, cybersecurity, as well as Black Lives Matters and Me Too. And so in this instance, the question for you is, how can you use what you have learned and what you have achieved? How can all of us, not just you, be useful amidst the many challenges and acts of hostility? How do past actions inform us? What institutions, networks need we to build? And in that spirit, I want to flag another important set of networks, because UCL is certainly one of them. But there's a great example of US England crossing, along with many other oceans crossed, because England was the home in 1840, or the site of the first World Anti-Slavery Convention. And there's a huge, for those of you who've been to the National Portrait Gallery in Trafalgar Square, there's a huge painting of it. And you can see in it two of the attendees from the United States who then became very famous in the United States. One name is Lucretia Mott, and she was from Pennsylvania, and the other Elizabeth Cady Stanton from Massachusetts. And they met in London for the first time in this anti-slavery. They went there to be seated and participate, but they were told that they could not be seated as delegates because the all-male Congress voted those women out. And if you go to the portrait, you'll see some women sitting kind of at the side. So in London, they determined, as Mott recorded in 1840 in her diary, we resolved to hold the convention as soon as we returned and form a society to advocate for the rights of women. Familiar in the United States is the output, which in 1848 was a meeting in an upstate New York town called Seneca Falls, which produced something called the Declaration of Sentiments on Women, a Bill of Rights insisting on women's full participation. We in the United States actually celebrate on July 4th our separation from England. It's called Independence Day. And in it, the Declaration of Independence is often read that says it is self-evident that all men are created equal. Well, that was 1776. In 1848, the Declaration of Sentiments went on to say, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal, and the history of mankind is of repeated injuries and usurpations on the part of men toward women. So one is to laud the expansion, but the other is no rosy picture. Because while the 1776 Declaration of Independence left women out, and the 1840 World Anti-Slavery Conference left women out and kept women out, the 1848 Declaration of Sentiments also has a noxious xenophobic underbelly that says that and racist. The document says that women did not have the rights that ignorant and degraded men, both native and foreigners, did. So here we are again. We need you. We, teachers, parents, friends, the world, need graduating students to understand the past, appreciate the innovations, and do much more. And here is another facet, a last facet that I want to underscore of UCL that has equipped you. Because in addition to resources and attention paid to you, and to radical disruptive thinking and to barrier lowering, it's also got a sense of humor. That also distinguishes it from lots of other places. And you can see it in the bizarre auto icon of Jeremy Bentham, who, when you're in person, you could see skeleton clothes, hat, chair, walking stick, and head usually available for visitors on campus. In 2018, in its retrospective history monograph, the writers speak of Bentham as the, quote, spiritual guide, and also dryly its oldest resident. And it comments that Bentham is sometimes wheeled out for meetings, although his vote is not recorded. Now, we in law have a complicated relationship with Bentham. First of all, UCL has the law faculty has the Great Bentham Project, which will inform us enormously, already has and continues to, about his remarkable oeuvre. But remember that he actually was virulent against what he called judges and company, and the company was us lawyers, for having developed a common law that was created as thick a mist, making its rules inaccessible and promoting our own self-interest. What did he want? Publicity was his view. He didn't think about trolls and creepy publicity. He was a cheerful sort of account of the world of the popular tribunal. He also coined the name codification, the word, and he wanted to try to codify laws. He wrote, including to the President of the United States in 1811, offering to James Madison that he could provide us a body of statute law to liberate the United States from the yoke, he described, of English common law. Well, the letter got a response in 1816 after the War of 1812 and declined. But we're told that although Bentham may have wanted to get to the United States, he didn't make it during his lifetime. But in 2018, he did get to New York City. In an alliance with UCL and another great US institution, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, there was an exhibit about sculpture and representations of the body. Before Bentham traveled, UCL told us, the curators thought he needed a spring cleaning to ensure there were no infestations of bugs. UCL curators recounted they did a bit of restuffing because he was kind of sagging like an old sofa, and moreover, that he needed some reapportioning. I guess he's thinner, like many people of this era. So this astonishing border crossing is where I want to end, because it's a remarkable set of innovative and also whimsical interactions. In the show that the Metropolitan put on, they put the title of it was called Like Life, to riff on the idea of being lifelike, in the sense that the sculptures were very much like people. It was kind of creepy and eerie as well as fascinating and interesting. So I think the title Like Life should be read a different way on graduation days as well as others. I would use the word like as a verb, so as to say, be sure you like living the life that you have. And before thinking you're stuck with the borders that are being created around you, remember that in your future, vaccinated and tested as we will all need to be, you can travel in remarkable ways, propelled, as was Jeremy Bentham, by UCL. Happy graduation.
Thank you so much, Judith, and I think that deserves a round of applause first before I move on. If I could ask colleagues to also unmute and everyone else, and to applaud Bethany. So thank you so much for this, Judith. I'm even more conscious than I was before that Mr. Bentham is looking over my shoulder. He does appear to be coming out of lockdown with hairdressers still not open for business. But I will not further digress on Mr. Bentham. Someone else who wants to. That's not him, is it? No. Just a few words to end this ceremony, and to wish you all the very best and congratulate you on your achievements. I want to start by saying how incredibly proud we are of each and every one of you. In the sort of daily grind of a university education, with its stream of lectures, seminars, tutorials, reading lists, essays, and assessments, it may not always be visible, but I speak for everyone in the faculty when I say that we are in awe every year when we see the tremendous talent, commitment, and hard work of our students. And this is, of course, even more the case this year with what you have all been through. We are privileged to be your teachers, and we congratulate you all on your enormous achievements. Today, of course, is a day of celebration of those achievements. You have deserved that. It's great to have these occasions and to take the time to look back and to party with partners, families, and friends. I suspect there are some champagne bottles in your fridge, though I should not publicize a French product in this country at this point in time, or anything else you fancy. But it's also a day to look ahead. I'd like to say a few words about what the future may have in store and about how you can shape that future. Because as Professor Resnick has identified and so eloquently elaborated on, it's very much our belief and ambition at UCL that we cannot just wait for the future to happen, but that we want to shape it. That, of course, starts with the plans and projects of each of you. A good law degree gives access to a wide range of career destinations. A degree from UCL Laws can only amplify the choice and opportunity ahead of you. My advice to you is to remain aware of this, even if you have already made your decision about what to do next. Many of you will, of course, move into the practice of law, which has a number of set boundaries and parameters, but even that's a world marked by constant change and opportunity, perhaps more than ever before. And there is, of course, life beyond the practice of law in its narrower sense. The significance of law in contemporary society, the place it occupies, keeps on growing. This really is a great time to be an academically educated lawyer, and each of you have the chance to make a significant contribution to making this world a little bit better. That could be through political action, support for civil society, contribution to the economy, so many other ways. I would ask you all to think about what you want to do, not just in terms of personal ambition, but equally from this perspective of what you are able to contribute. The other point I'd like to stress, and of course you all notice, is that the law, as we call it, is really meaningless and perhaps even unhelpful when conceived of without regard for the values and principles which underpin it. I'm not going to bore you with an academic lecture about those values and principles. The basic ones are straightforward enough. The rule of law and not just the rule by law. The idea that there are certain fundamental rights and freedoms which the law needs to uphold, principles of equality, fairness, due process, the need to nurture a basic constitutional framework for the conduct of day-to-day politics. These are all things which are not necessarily at the front of our minds in our bustling, lawyerly lives. They need not be, but we do have to bear them in mind constantly as our fundamental source of inspiration. And I'm sure this is a refrain which many law school deans over the ages have rehearsed on occasions like these, but I need not convince anyone here, and again, I build on the theme developed by Professor Resnick, that in our time, it's again become indispensable to advocate and uphold these principles and values. We just cannot take them for granted ever. But that would be too solemn a note to end on. You all graduate today, but that's really just a new beginning in your relationship with UCL and with our faculty. You'll always be part of our community, and we will work hard to continue the relationship, to welcome you back whenever you are around or want to visit. Just come along, stay in touch in whichever way suits you. Our door will always be open. And this is even more the case now that we're all using Zoom and SM Teams, and I hope in the future an even better program. I conclude by thanking you all for having studied with us, for having contributed so much to our faculty and its work, particularly in difficult circumstances. I also want to thank those around you, family and friends who have supported and encouraged you during your studies. And as Dean of the faculty, it now gives me enormous pleasure to be able to formally confer your degrees. I think we have now a video coming. That's my script.